show me how the money works and I'll show you the culture. This is really important. I think that's going to go right through one ear and right out the other for a lot of people, but this is meant to go down because it's actually a culture is a condition of the heart, and it's culture trumps a lot of strategy and a lot of tactics, and culture is the thing that actually has greater influence. It's like the environment that you put someone in actually shapes the way they express their health.
Hello and welcome to the Remarkable CEO Podcast, a show dedicated to chiropractors who want to transform their job into a business so that they can have a remarkable practice as part of a remarkable life, not instead of one. With your hosts, Dr. Pete Camiolo and Dr. Stephen Franson.
What's up, Remarkables? Welcome to another episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast, chiropractic's #1 business podcast. I'm Dr. Stephen Franson.
And I'm Dr. Pete Camiolo.
Hey guys, we are rolling this is part 2 of a financial conversation that we just had. We're like, hey, you know what? Let's drill down. Let's have a conversation around money models. Let's have a conversation around your financial model for how people pay for their care, right? Because Dr. Pete, you know what I know. Show me how the money works in a business and I'll show you the culture of that business, right? So I'd love to have a conversation today around alignment and making sure that your financial plans and how people pay for their care is in alignment with your philosophy of how you run your practice and, frankly, how you run your life.
Yeah, I'd like to unpack that, Doc. Let's unpack the statement, show me how the money works and I'll show you the culture. This is really important. I think that's going to go right through one ear and right out the other for a lot of people, but this is meant to go down because it's actually a culture is a condition of the heart, and it's culture trumps a lot of strategy and a lot of tactics, and culture is the thing that actually has greater influence. It's like the environment that you put someone in actually shapes the way they express their health, right? We talked about that in our healthcare model, but it's the same with your business. So let's talk about the culture of the money culture and the philosophy side of this. And then we'll get into obviously the very practical, how we can roll this out.
That's great. So I'm going to venture out onto the cliff of projecting my philosophy on everybody right now. So I can just get permission to do that, even if it's just illustrative, right? So even if it's just like, for instance, right? So for example, I will use my own point of view and then insert yours, right? So guys, I believe that chiropractic is a lifestyle success strategy for healthy human beings, right? So I don't believe that it should be limited to a short-term treatment modality for people that are in crisis, right? Let's face it, we love taking care of people that are in crisis. We love helping people that are in trouble with their health, whether they have the symptom or a condition or some kind of body signal going on. We love to help people like that. Don't mishear that at all, right? So, but I believe that's the tip of the iceberg, right? And chiropractic offers so much more below the surface. And I want to make sure that, we have the full expression of the potential of life for our patients, right? It's not just getting people out of trouble, but getting them back to health and teaching them how to use chiropractic to stay at the optimal levels of health, right? There you go. There's my philosophy, which means that chiropractic is a lifestyle success strategy for healthy human beings. Let's break that down. It means I want people to get adjusted regularly over their lifetime, right? So I want families to get checked regularly, get adjusted regularly, consistently over time, over their lifetime, right? So in other words, I want to see retention. I want to see compliance, right? Because it's been my experience. I saw a lot of people over 26 years of just taking care of people. It's my actual experience and observation with tens of thousands of cases that the people that get regular chiropractic care over time do better. I know it's not theoretical. I've lived it in the laboratory, and now I get to see it with thousands of chiropractors and their tens of thousands, not 100,000 patients, that people who get checked and adjusted regularly over time, they get better health outcomes. And man, I don't know about you, Dr. Pete, that's what I got into this for, right? So I know it's all about consistent chiropractic care over time so people can realize that compound benefit of regular chiropractic care over time. So it is my moral obligation to set up my practice and my business to make it easier for people to do that. Right. You have to set it up so it's easier for people to do that. In other words, you got to knock down the friction. Yep. And it's like, what is the friction? What makes it hard for people to get consistent chiropractic care over time, right? So let's talk about the top 3. And everybody's jumping is like, well, number 1's money. No, it's not, right? So number 1 is time. People are busy. They're overscheduled. They're overcommitted. They're overwhelmed. So people are busy. It's busyness, right? So that's the number 1 thing. Is like people trying to find time to get in to get adjusted. That is the number 1 barrier to people getting regular, consistent chiropractic care over time. Number 2, convenience. Same. It's the kissing cousin of busyness, but it's inconvenient, right? So to try to get to a practice, especially one that's inefficient or unreliable or inconsistent, right? So it's like, it can be a real pain in the butt to be a regular chiropractic patient, especially in the initial stages of care, right? So number 3, there it is, it's money, right? So there's an economic decision that is a big part of people staying under regular chiropractic care. And of course, that means it's a value conversation, right? So it's never a price situation. It's always a value situation. So there it is, Dr. Pete. It's time, busyness, it's convenience, efficiency, and it's money. And I know the truth is what it comes down to is you've got to begin with the end in mind, and you've got to knock down all that friction. You've got to address each one of those points of resistance. Otherwise, it's death by 1,000 cuts.
So if you understood our model, the remarkable model, which we teach in our practice immersions, you'll watch us go through this process from attraction through conversion into retention, the team, and then the money, the collection side. And you'll see that it's the output from the input and the throughput from your business. So this is a conversation really about what's above all of that, which is your philosophy. And you shared that. And so I just want to use this as a moment just to remind you as CEOs, visionaries, visions are caught, not taught. Like, when's the last time you clarified and shared your vision with your team? Does your team know the vision, and do your patients know the vision? Or are we making assumptions now? Or have we stopped sharing that with and through to our team and through our team and to your community? Because when you stop sharing it, that's when you start to see these things fall apart. I'll give you an example. We teach a procedure called the Better Results Faster Workshop, which is an opportunity for you to cast vision. It's a vision casting workshop. It's an opportunity for you to enroll people to become, to ascend above just believing you and believing something to understanding something. Now, it doesn't remove belief. Belief always has to remain, because belief is the number one driver of behaviors, and behaviors is what drives your outcome. So when we say becoming an understander, that doesn't mean you've risen above being a believer. No, you're a believer who understands. It's an and conversation, not an or. You're building blocks on. And so this is your philosophy, and that's going to determine the health of your business, the financial health of the business, because the more that you can build a believer who understands, the more likely they are going to understand how to make this a part of their lifestyle long-term to be more successful. So the barriers of time, the barriers of inconvenience, the barriers of money, those become to kind of lowered. They lower so that it's easier for people to see their way through it, because they ultimately have to see it for themselves, and they have to make that choice. You can't, make someone do anything. You can't make someone be your patient. You can't make them stay. You can't make them refer. However, you can create an environment where they want to stay. They want to refer. They want to invest in their healthcare. They see the value of that. But it all comes back to this. It starts with you being able to cast that vision, share your philosophy, share it so that they can catch it, so then they can make it their own. Your team has to be fully bought into this. If your team isn't, you're just dragging these people through, and you drag them in, you drag them around, and they're not going to stay because you can't handle it. It gets exhausting. It gets so heavy, and that's why the practice will remain small, the business will remain small, and collections will remain small. And the reason why that's going to happen is because we haven't done our job. So I just wanted to double click, Dr. Stephen, on that culture and the philosophy and how it bleeds through every part of the entire experience for the patient, which is going to lead to this outcome that ultimately we're talking about here, is this money model and how to solve that and help all of you improve that this year.
That's exactly right. So, there's a fabric to your business, right? So, and your philosophy will be woven through that fabric, right? So culture will be woven all the way through. And I'm going to stay with just my perspective on a wellness practice. Insert your own, guys, right? So I hope you have the same fluency and clarity around your vision for what success looks like. So I knew in our practice, I wanted to have a wellness practice. I wanted a family wellness environment, right? So what does family wellness care look like? Break it down. Family. That's just multiple generations, right? So I want to see multiple generations of a family in the practice, right? Okay, check. Lifetime family wellness. Well, I want to see them over their lifetime, right? So I want to make sure that I see patients that are staying consistent through their seasons of their life, from pregnancy through infancy, through toddler to young children, through preteens, through teens, adolescents, all the way through the life cycle. So I want to see all generations represented, all the way up to the nanas and grandpas, right? So the grandparents in there, right? And great grandparents. So I want to see the whole thing, and I want to see it over time, right? So that's lifetime family wellness. When you look at the practice, I should be able to insert myself Coach Steven I should be able to insert myself in any part of your practice or your business and be able to identify that, in this example, oh, this is a wellness practice. Like I should be able to open up your schedule book and go out 30 days and be like, oh, they're mapped out 30 days here. This is a wellness practice. I should be able to eavesdrop on your report of findings and be like, oh, this is a wellness practice. No other context. I should be able to like walk up and listen to you do table talk and be like, oh, this is a wellness practice. No other context. I should be able to look at your recommendations for care and say, oh, that's a wellness practice. I should listen to your workshop. You go, oh, it's a wellness practice. I should be able to go on your social media and just glance at your Instagram page and be like, oh, this is a wellness practice. Say yes if you guys are getting what I'm saying here. It's like every single piece of this, right? So your financial plans, I should be able to look at your financial plans and say, oh, this is a wellness practice. Like every part of your practice needs to have the congruency that says that's what this practice is. That's the culture of it. And any incongruency is going to slow you down, right? That's where the friction is going to be. And any contradiction is going to lead to destruction, right? So it's like at the end of the day, Dr. Pete, it's about breaking down each of these pieces, identifying where is the friction and knocking down the friction, right? Picture sanding down the friction, right? So we said three things: time, convenience, and money. So let's just go quickly. Time. I want you to have really a strong commitment to mapping people out. This is a big one, right? So time, people are all overwhelmed. Everybody has busyness issues, right? So you can't expect a person to figure out from week to week, day to day, when they're going to come in to get adjusted. That's just setting people up for failure, period. You have got to find the days and times that work best in their life. That becomes their time and map them out. Oh, you like 7:45 a.m. on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays? Perfect. That's going to be your time for the next 4 weeks. Oh, you want to keep your Wednesdays 3:15 because you pick up your kids at 2:45 and you're right down the street. That's going to become your time for you and your kids. Great. We're going to map that out. Now you can change it if you have to, but that's your time. It's a standing appointment. Mapping out, Dr. Pete, that's the number one way to handle that busyness and time commitment, right? So issues. Number two, convenience. Right. So you got to look at your hours. We started at 6:45 in the morning. People are like, what? I can get in here before I go to the gym or before I get to school or before I go to work, et cetera. And we'd be open till 6:45 at night. We had a 2.5 hour lunch in the middle of the day. We'd have lunch, take a nap, and then we'd do a meeting or a training and we'd be back in action. Right. So we'd have an AM shift and a PM shift. Sometimes it would be different staff, different doctors. Right. So it's like we were open and convenient hours that made it easy for people to get in regularly and get their care. And we wanted to make sure that our processes and procedures were tight. Right. So we were so efficient. People were like, holy crap, I can come in, swipe in. You guys are ready for me. I am there getting checked. I'm getting adjusted and I'm out the door. And it's a 15 to 25 minute experience door to door. Man, I'm flowing. Some of you are even faster than that. Right. So you think you have to spend more time for people? People aren't paying for your time. Mm-hmm. People aren't paying for your time. They're buying the outcome. They're hiring you for your expertise and they're paying you for accountability. That's the exchange right there. They're not paying for your time. Okay. So they're buying an outcome. They're hiring you for the delivery and they're paying you for accountability, period. Get over in your mind that it's more time, right? So they want efficiency. Remember what the first two reasons that they don't come in regularly is? They're both time-based. So get more efficient. That's where the TRP processes are so powerful, making sure that your team is tight on the process. And then Pete, let's double click on this third one, the money, right? So money very often becomes a barrier. Now, I'm a big advocate of financial plans, of course, right? You want to give financial plans that are a reflection of the care plan. Right. So care plan is the clinical recommendations. You got to get a commitment to the path first before you get commitment to the plan. Right. Problem, goal, path, plan. The path is the care plan. This is the clinical care. They commit to that. Well, great. This is the bill. This is the financial plan. This is what it's going to cost. How you pay for it, there's different ways to pay for it as well. But first, get them committed to a financial plan. This is how I'm going to pay for that care. Right. So now they're committed to the path, the recommendations, the clinical frequency, et cetera. And now they commit to the payment plan, which is how am I going to pay for it? Right. So there's two separate and distinct things: path, then the plan. So get the plan right. And then I also love the payment plan set up in a couple of ways. I love to do down payments plus payments. And then that's reoccurring revenue. And then I am a big fan of getting people into a membership model once they graduate into wellness care and maintenance care, which is open-ended. Right. Wellness care by nature, maintenance care by nature is not finite. It's not a 12-month plan. It's not a 4-month plan. It's open-ended. You are graduating into wellness care and maintenance care. And this is recurring revenue. So the first term was reoccurring, which is there's a finite care plan. Let's say it's 4 months, down payment plus payments. Now I've just committed to reoccurring payments. That's reoccurring revenue. Maybe it's 12 months for corrective care. That's reoccurring. But once they graduate into wellness care and maintenance care, Dr. Pete, I love the subscription model, and that's called recurring revenue. So monthly recurring revenue, which is one of our favorite metrics, is monthly recurring revenue, MRR. And I'll tell you what, I'll make the argument that recurring revenue and reoccurring revenue is the payment plan that is most aligned with the philosophy of our practice and of our business.
Yeah. So Dr. Stephen, as you were going through that, it's like you're saying, knocking down the barriers. So you talked about adjustments being mapped out. So that has to do with time, like you said, reducing the friction there. And I also wanted to double click on the block scheduling model, which we teach, and how important that is. So you can organize your time and your energy appropriately so that when you show up to do a day one or a report of findings or a re-exam and re-report, that you have the energy that you need to be able to do that well. I see a lot of docs cut corners here, and they're trying to do it, and they either skip it or they do a mediocre job at best. And you have a hard time getting the recommitment. So people aren't recommitting and they're not staying on and continuing on in their membership. It was hard for you. It was hard for them. And just because it was more difficult, it just made more sense for them to not continue with care. So many of you are losing some of these monthly recurring revenue people because of the friction as a patient over time. So be thinking about that too, because it's one thing that when people get started to map them out, it's another thing to deliver efficiently, effectively, the care for the duration. Every time the patient comes in, I always envision this, they're checking me out. They're deciding whether they're going to come back or not every time. And so I told my staff, it's like, listen, every single time somebody walks through the door, they're going to smile and say hello. We're going to smile. It's going to say hello. But they're thinking, did I make a good decision to come here today? And do you think, am I going to come back? That's what they're thinking each and every time. I know that's a bit of a
very healthy way to do it,
but it's just how I would think about it. And so I was just like, hey, we got to make sure every time that they're thinking, this is a really good decision. I'm glad I sat in traffic for 18 minutes versus going home to come here. And I'll be back. I'm definitely coming back. Those are the two things. So make sure that the time and how it's mapped out and the experience, the convenience, the hours, the efficiency, the flow, you've got to watch that. And Dr. Stephen, I'm going to throw myself under the bus here, but I did not always do a great job of this. Actually, I did a poor job for a long time because we were very high volume and people had to wait. And I know that we lost a lot of people because they were waiting in the hot seats. And of course, it's worth the wait, of course. But Dr. Stephen, we would lose people. So make sure you're looking at your hours, looking at your efficiency, what it looks like, not just to start as a patient, but to stay as a patient. What does it look like for somebody in year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5 to still have the enjoyment of the experience of being a patient, even when they're quote unquote way beyond symptoms and they're doing great? And then the third thing you talked about was obviously the money model, the economics and the reoccurring versus recurring. And Dr. Stephen, when I finally got this had the revelation, it changed the game because I had so much pressure on me and my staff to re-sign all the time and re-sign patients. And it bogged our schedule down and it created a capacity block. We couldn't break through.
100%.
And when we shifted to the membership model, it changed everything. It absolutely changed everything. So I know some of you are listening who have made these transitions and transformation, and you might be nodding. You're like, yeah, it's been awesome to see that recurring revenue grow month over month, year over year. And when you look back 2 years ago and last year and this year, and you're setting your goals for next year, and it's a KPI on somebody's scorecard to see that percentage of total revenue grow, it energizes you because it's energizing, because it's the right thing to do. Again,
That's right.
This is our philosophy, Dr. Stephen.
That's right.
You have to decide where you are, insert it into this conversation. But I will tell you, as a chiropractor and as a father and as a husband, as a family person, regular chiropractic care is a big part of my life. Why wouldn't I offer that to other people? And why would I want to make it any harder than it needs to be?
That's exactly right.
We need to make sure we reduce and remove friction so that it makes it easy for people to stay with you and stay with you for life.
Yeah, Dr. Pete, I'll close with this. Is like so often, I love that point you made, is like, as you grow and you get busier and busier and you start accumulating patients, those re-exams and recommitments, you start getting sloppy, right? So what ends up happening is you start getting cocky, you start taking things for granted. Oh, they get it. They don't really need an exam. They don't really need a report. Let's just give them a new financial plan. Next thing you know, they've skipped the problem, goal, path, plan equation, no more 4 agreements. And that is amateur hour, right? So that muscle's atrophying, right? So, are there the exceptions? Like, listen, I never need another exam. I'm in for life, whatever. It's like, that is not how you want to run your practice. You want to make sure that you are constantly creating value and reminding them, because remember, you have the only source of the truth for these people. Like they need a touch point: problem, goal, path, plan. Keep the goal out in front of people. So once you get to the point where, all right, we've now graduated to wellness and maintenance, this person's like, yeah, forever and ever, amen. We still do the clinical check-ins, but we take away the economic conversation, right? So that they've made the commitment. It's an open-ended financial commitment. It's like, it's going to be this rate until we change our rates. And then you might have to have a problem, goal, path, plan conversation again, right? So I can remember at Volume, Dr. B just getting backed up and jacked up with those re-exam and re-reports, right? So it's like, hey, what'd you have for lunch today? Oh, I had 3 R5s and an R4. What'd you have? Right? So it's like, there was no lunch today. There was no other place to stick them, right? Next thing you know, we're just moving everybody into this membership plan. And then it was clinical reviews tableside without all of the, song and dance around, problem, goal, path plan every 12 months, getting people to re-sign. Listen, guys, I hope this hit you between the eyes. And that's exactly where we're aiming. And if you need help with this, 2 things, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get my team to do this? Have you thought about listening to these episodes with your team? Like, you can watch this on YouTube. You can listen to it together. You can assign it to them for this. It's great to listen to it together. Let us run a team meeting for you and be like, guys, there's a 30-minute podcast episode that Dr. Steven and Dr. Pete did that we have to listen to, right? And just let us do the heavy lifting. Play these episodes for your team. If you're thinking of your team right now, it's like, now I have to convey this to my team. It's like, no, we'll do that for you. Right? Yeah. Like, sit down together and listen to this as a team, or maybe bring them to the immersion, right? So if you want to see more people, bring your team to the Remarkable Practice immersion. You want to make more money, bring your team to the Remarkable Business immersion, right? So if you want to do both, that's the punchline. Bring your team to both of those. All right, guys, I know that this was super technical and detailed as always, but we hope that it was exactly what you needed to hear today. It's our purpose and it's our pleasure to serve this mission, which is to help more people help more people.
Please stick around for more business insights from this week's bonus interview with our remarkable success partner, dedicated to helping you more successfully help more people. Enjoy.
All right, Remarkables. So I am excited to introduce Naota Hashimoto with TrackStat. I'm excited to interview Naota because we implemented TrackStat in our practice probably about 2 years ago, and it really was a big game changer for our practice on multiple levels. So Naota, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about TrackStat too?
Yeah, well, just started out in practice, right? I was actually looking for a solution. If it would have existed, I would have done it. But like, we just cobbled together a Frankenstein set of things. We had a software called Infusionsoft, which is like for patient communication. We had a texting platform that integrated with our ChiroTouch. We had 7 spreadsheets. And then we had a stat tracking software. Nothing talked to each other, and it was kind of a nightmare. And if I would have known the amount of effort it would have taken to get to here, I probably wouldn't have started. But I think that's the whole part of entrepreneurship, that you just have an idea and you just run with it, and that boulder keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But like, now that it's like rolling downhill, it's definitely a lot easier. So the premise behind the software is we wanted to take static data in your EHR, like a system of record, and make it actionable, right? So like, we started out with like some accountability, but the hard part about accountability is the front desk staff and admin, they're so busy like just serving patients and answering the phones that it takes some time to figure out what to do. So then we wanted to make it easy to track patients, but we also wanted to be able to check their work, just like a math teacher, right? If you got a perfect score or a wrong score, you need to be able to check the work. So we started out with patient tracking, and then then people just say, well, I want online scheduling. I want a mobile app. I want reminders. I want marketing. I want a high-level integration, a Fortis, cash practice. I want these other integrations. So part of the automation is that. And then now with, AI getting better and better and better, most of the people on here have probably noticed an explosion of like AI voice. And that's one of the things that we're rolling out next month. And actually, by the time the podcast hits, it's going to be out. But it's, yeah, now like, what we try to do is we try to take an action that's supposed to happen and put AI or automation on the front end. And then not everyone responds to that. So then we have a workflow for the non-responders. And then the last piece is accountability. So the example I always give everyone is a no-show appointment, right? Someone misses an appointment, we reach out, you guys reach out, we attempt to do it through automation or AI. The front desk tries to do it. And then we give the admin team a workflow of all the canceled and missed appointments that haven't been rescheduled yet, with an easy way for them to text, email, schedule, make a note. And then the last piece is accountability. And then we just follow that with every piece of the practice.
Okay, awesome. So the AI component will take out a lot of the front desk, like back end stuff that they're trying to do in between, like patient, where it's like greet a patient, text someone back, call them. The AI component is supposed to do
Yeah, like
all
anything
of
from like a confirmation call or someone
that.
calling in and just like, oh, it's like David's calling in on Friday. Is like, hey, I forgot my appointment on Friday. What time is it? 3:30. Oh, I can't make 3:30. Can I change it to 4? Oh, can I schedule an appointment for my daughter at the same time? Right?
Oh,
Like that kind of stuff. Or yeah,
mm,
just if you take out all the rescheduling,
mhm.
changing, adding new appointments, do you take Medicare? Do you take Blue Cross? I hurt my knee. Do chiropractors work with knees? I have sciatica. I have nemesis and like all these little things, like and
Yeah.
24/7. If you start looking at how many missed phone calls you have versus how many voicemails, there's a big disparity. Now, some of that is going to be spam calls, right? And then some of it is your existing patients. They call, no answer, they hang up and they call again until they get a live person. But if I think with the cost of labor going up and like people just expect stuff, like
Yeah.
I needed some new baseball stuff for my kids. I ordered it yesterday afternoon. It got here yesterday evening. Same day. Same
Yes.
day. So it's like
Yes.
people, and I didn't have to do much. I just searched, click, click, done. And it
Well,
was like just literally at our house.
yeah. Well, and all of us, like, we have A-player teams, right? And our big thing is we want longevity with our team, and this is probably something, like, as I'm speaking this out loud, I know my front desk is getting excited because as much as they know that's the important part of their job, it's probably, like, some of their least favorite, right? Because they know the answers, they know how to give it there, but it's, like, time suckers, right? Of just, like, the easy kind of thing. So
It's
I feel like
yeah, it's a huge time sucker. And like some of the stuff they can't answer, we would never have the AI deal
yeah.
with like a billing dispute, right? Trying to explain an EOB, that's just gonna get them in hot water. But like if, like if they're just checking in on Mrs. Anderson that got a hip replacement last month, right? Someone's spouse is like going through chemo, like a get well soon card. Like I think certain in the day and age of AI and automation, like some stuff should just be analog. Like I tell like a lot of our users, like, hey, what we used to do is I do a custom video and then text it out to them after their consult. Because like I used to call, but like no one
Mhm.
picks up the phone. So I just do a custom video. And there's like a free software called like Loom. You could just record a quick little video and just say, hey, Rachel, it was great seeing you today. Just wanted to let you know that we went over your exam and x-rays, found a couple of things that concern me a little bit. Definitely something we could work with. We could probably get you back on that pickleball court pretty soon and definitely get you ready for that trip to Italy this summer with your kids and grandkids. Don't forget to bring your spouse with you to the visit. Like just a
Yep.
simple little thing. Like I see people that want to automate that and you can automate it, but I think in the day and age of AI and automated everything, when someone does an analog thing, like,
Mhm.
like it just blows you away. So like I think like train
Mhm.
your front desk team to do those like very human to human activities.
Yeah. And obviously what you just explained was a TRP standard of and like joy Coleman mixed together with just like perfection of things. So I do want to highlight too with TrackStat because yes, there's this AI automated tool, but TrackStat like literally can integrate with like almost everything. And maybe one of my favorite things about TrackStat, note if you want to touch on this, is like all the stuff you focus on. And one of my favorites as a CEO is the stats that you guys just can just come up with like instantly. So like our scoreboards and scorecards can just be like implemented in seconds throughout the month, which in the past literally took my office manager hours a week to do. And now it's like click of a button, you've been able to create that for us. So to kind of tell us all the features that TrackSet has to offer for, office managers, CEOs, kind of like everybody, because it's not just the AI component. There's so much more to what you guys have too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, like with the stat part, like, like anything that you want to do, like, okay, I want to know how many re-exams. I want to know how many of these re-exams move forward. Like a lot of the stuff people are tracking is like a visit associated with a provider, associated with an appointment type. Did they schedule it? Did they show revenue? And revenue gets definitely kind of tricky when you start like breaking it down, filtering it down, and getting that in real time, consistent way. And at the end of the day, like, stats are really just about trends. So if you're doing it consistently the same way, is it trending up? Is it flat? Is it going down? What action do I need to take? And if you're having a human do it, And let's just say you have Tiffany working on it, and Tiffany runs a certain report. She trains Sarah to do it. Now Sarah does it a little bit differently, and now you might be getting slightly different stats. And then I see some offices, they're literally hand counting certain kinds of appointments. And like one, that sucks, two, that takes time, and three, they can make a mistake. And you can make a business decision based on bad data. So like the nice thing about, like software doing it, it does it real time, but consistently, right? Imagine like if you were driving in your car and like you had someone trying to look at kind of like the odometer to figure out the distance, and someone holding like a stopwatch, and you're trying to figure out how fast you're driving, you're going to get a ton of speeding tickets, right? Because it's just slow and delayed. So getting, like your speedometer in real time is going to be important, just like in your business.
Yep, for sure. Cool. So yeah, TrackStat is able to, and another great feature too that, and again, I truthfully love TrackStat and tell all my clients about it, but another great feature for your staff too is rescheduling, keeping patients on track. I feel like there's new features constantly. Every other time you log in, it's like, oh, you have a new update, you have a new update. And so I do appreciate that too a lot, because like you're constantly staying on track with things and, getting new features, communicating with new clients on that level, seeing the schedule live. People can just like flow super quickly through things. And it's just an awesome tool for practice optimization in so many levels. So yeah.
Yeah. No, like we just try to add a lot more automation. So like, finding quality like A players is getting harder and harder and harder, right? And, I'm pretty sure most CEOs out there would rather deal with like a handful of awesome A players rather than like diluting the pool, right? It also allows you to pay your team more, right? Because you're going to be a more profitable business too.
Yeah, for sure. Love that. Anything else, Noda, that you want listeners to know about your product and how they can optimize, and even especially with TRP?
Well, like the easiest thing for people to do is just do a free trial, right? If they just go to trackstat.org, TrackStat.org, they could do a free trial. It doesn't interfere what you're doing. We could work with other softwares, and then yeah, some people will decide, I can't believe it does all these different things and integrates with these other Chiro-friendly softwares. So like a free trial is where to go. Some people kind of come to us just because they want better metrics, and then they realize, oh, I got all these patients that should be coming in. Like people love our recall list, right? So like our recall algorithm will take a look at patients' past scheduling and payment habits and put ones at the top that are more likely to schedule, and ones at the bottom. So even with all this AI automation and workflows, like, like if you have 300 people on your list, why call all 300 when, there's probably 40 to 60 people that will reschedule this week if you call them.
Yep, exactly.
So,
All right, free trial doesn't hurt, you guys. Like I said, that was one of my greatest things, and his staff is excellent to work with. So like on top of everything. So schedule a free consultations where you can learn some more, and you won't regret it too, just with the ease of stats and getting on track with patients. So thank you, Noda, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Remarkable CEO Podcast. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, share with a friend, and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with us personally, direct message us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Remember, what the world needs now is chiropractic, and what chiropractic needs now is more successful chiropractors.